All right, and welcome back to WYD Rocks. This is Dario Mabini from worldyouth.com, joined by my good friend Deacon Pedro from WYD Central. Thank you for joining us again
Hello.
on this beautiful day. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. All packed. No, not all. I was going to say I'm all packed, but I'm not.
I was gonna
Not, no.
say, who's packed right now? That's insanity.
Well, you know what? Can I just tell you, because I was at a meeting on Saturday, just last weekend, with a youth group that's going to World Youth Day. And they were like, some kids were like, this is 10 days before they leave, not even 10 days before World Youth Day. And some were already packing. So I thought, at least they're throwing like piles of clothes inside a suitcase somewhere.
Yeah,
That's
but it, but
good.
it, but it's like, your first day of school is coming up in like 5 days. No one packs their backpack 5 days before the first
Yeah.
day of school.
See, yeah, no, I know. I like to start setting things aside, but then
Sure.
what happens is that then I forget what I've already set aside. So then I have to like unpack everything and then start again. So it's better to just do it all in one go, and that way you know that you got, 10 pairs of underwear and you didn't forget, you know.
Yeah, don't forget the underwear, right? I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
mom and dad will probably say, "Hey, don't forget the underwear, don't forget your shirts." But I mean, let's be honest, like packing sometimes, there are people that are really good at packing.
Yep.
They'll wait until the last second. Like I have a 3 o'clock flight and I'll probably pack around like 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Knowing
yeah, yeah.
that I have to get to the airport, I have to get on the plane. But today's show is dedicated to those who are both the ones who are preppers, who will prep this thing weeks in advance, and to those who are like me, are like last minute, oh, let's just throw a bunch of stuff in there. And, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, oh, well, but
So here's the middle ground. The middle ground is it's okay, you can pack at the last minute, but start thinking about it a couple of days before, maybe even have a list.
bingo.
And a lot of young adult groups or youth groups that are going will give the participants a list. Like I think
Yeah.
that a lot of people do that. It's like, make sure you pack this, don't pack this. But hopefully we can talk about the things that you're maybe not thinking about. I hope that everybody's thinking about underwear and shirts.
Yeah, but let's get into that list because that's something that's very important to go over. I think as someone told me one time is like, imagine like you're going on a trip for about a week and a half, pack everything you need and put it on your bed and then cut it in half. That's what you're going to need at World Youth Day.
Oh,
And I thought
that's
to
so hard.
myself,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is hard. It is hard. But then I remember that episode of Mr. Bean, right, where he's packing for vacation and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like, he's got this little suitcase and he realizes like, oh, you can't get the long pants in, so I'll cut
yeah.
it to
Yes,
shorts, right?
yes,
And
yes.
after he packs everything, he realizes he's got the big suitcase on the floor the whole time. I mean, like, we're not telling you guys to do something extraordinary, crazy, but at the same time, it's like, do we really need a blow dryer? Do
No,
we really need like a
no.
third set of deodorants? Because just in case one, we lose the first two.
Yeah,
We
no.
really need a shaver. Well, I mean, then again, like for us in the media, we do keep a good look. We shave. Of course, right now you can tell that we're still in that prep mode. But, I mean, I kept thinking like there are things that I'm absolutely going to need. And there are things that I can probably find there, like shampoo and conditioner,
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Deodorant. Like,
right?
yeah, who cares
Deodorant,
if you forgot your deodorant? You can buy that.
toothpaste.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in terms of clothing, I mean,
Yes.
like I know that, for example, this group that I was with,
Yeah.
they're staying at a hostel and the hostel has laundry facilities. So
Wow.
they're thinking maybe we can, do days in the diocese and then get to our hostel, do laundry. And so you don't have to pack for 2 weeks. You only have to pack for 1 week. But I'm a big fan of just making sure that I pack for the time that I'm there, unless I'm there for over 2 weeks, then that's a lot of laundry. Um, but you're not going to do laundry, and you might get there and thinking that you're going to do laundry, but then you need coins and or euros, or like you didn't prepare because you don't know how it works, or you didn't have the time. It takes 2 hours to to go and do laundry. So maybe doing laundry might not be the way to go. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, Dario. I'm not a big laundry while I'm doing laundry while I travel kind of person.
No, I'm with you, dude. But there are people that are staying in hotels that are probably going to pay that extra arm and a leg to get their clothes laundered by the hotel.
Oh,
So, I
oh
mean, that's
no.
one of the options. I remember hearing that, and I thought to myself, why would you pay $13 US dollars for one
Yeah.
T-shirt to get washed? But I mean, there are people that will say,
No, well
I
here,
need to
okay,
get
so
myself
here's what my
laundered,
mother
right?
used to do. My mother used to, she was a ballet dancer and she was on tour with the National Ballet of Canada. Uh, and she would do, so at least your socks and your underwear you can do by hand in the room, in the
Yeah,
bathroom. And if you do your underwear and socks every night, and then you roll them in the towel and you dry them, like by 2 days later they're dry, so you can at least, but I mean really like an extra 5 pair of underwear is not going to really take that much space in your suitcase, so I don't know if that really is a big saver.
but,
um
but I mean,
if you're
let's
going
just
for
say, for
10 days,
example,
I
those.
would do 10 pairs of underwear, 10
Yeah,
shirts. You're going to get a shirt in your pilgrim kit, so you're going to have one. You're going to maybe buy some shirts,
maybe
a little
or trade
Portugal
them.
shirt,
Yeah.
exactly, or trade them. So you might end up with two extra shirts, um, a pair of shorts, a pair of jeans or sweatpants or cheesy whatever the women wear. What do you call leggings? I don't know. I was going to say
Guys
I,
are not wearing leggings. Don't worry.
I don't know what they're called. Um, and one or two pairs of shoes. What do you think, Dario?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you want walking shoes because you're going to be walking a lot. But then again, like I'm a big fan of like wearing, flip-flops or sandals or Birkenstocks. I mean, especially in an environment like Lisbon. Lisbon is not like super hard on your feet. I mean, having a good pair of walking shoes will be good because there are inclines,
Yeah.
and there are hills, and but then there's also a very soft stone that's white, and that could mean that you guys could slip on those things. So having flip flops would be good because it's hot, but it's not that hot. I mean, it's probably going to be like 84 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit to like maybe in the high 20s, early 30s Celsius. I don't foresee it getting anywhere close to 40 like what we're seeing in Rome right
What we're
now.
seeing in the
two
news, yeah.
weeks before World Youth Day, Rome is already scorching in the 40s, like in the mid 40s. And that's pretty hot in Celsius. Like for those of you guys that are in Fahrenheit, that's close to 105,
Yeah.
106, right? But we're looking at very moderate temperature. You're by a beach, you're gonna probably want to put your feet in the water. Maybe you're one of those weird people that are like, I want to put my feet in the water. Shoes and socks might not be appropriate. Maybe you should wear flip-flops. I'm just saying, like, definitely bring one pair of shoes and one pair of flip-flops.
Yeah, or sandals.
Or
Yeah, if you want.
sandals.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
You don't have to. You could wear that same pair of shoes. Just make sure you break it in before you fly out. I mean, like that's huge. Like, don't
Yeah,
buy a brand new pair of shoes and don't break it in until you get there, only to realize this is not comfortable for me walking 7 to 8 miles a day.
yeah,
Because that's probably, and I'll be honest with all of you, that's probably on average what a pilgrim walks during
yeah,
World Day.
yeah. Bring your fit, your app, so that you can count your steps.
Yeah.
I have a really good pair of like hiking shoes, Merrell's, that travel with everywhere, and they're super good. They're dry, they're waterproof, they're got good traction, they're light.
That's the key.
So that's my go-to always. I know I can walk in them. And if I get wet, they don't get wet, so they're good. But they're hiking boots, like they're hiking shoes. They're not.
And when Deacon Pedro tells you guys about like hiking shoes, please don't worry about like walking into churches with those hiking
Yeah,
shoes. It's not like someone's going to say to you, well, you're not wearing dress shoes, you can't come into mass, or you can't,
yeah,
because right, to be honest with you, at World Youth Day, we want to embrace the youth culture where they're at. And granted, you might be traveling and you might not be able to carry everything with you. Maybe you are. Maybe you are like, I'm bringing my dress shoes for every mass occasion that I will ever attend at World Youth Day. Great. But it's not required. It's not mandatory. We're going to be outdoors for the Sunday mass. We're going to be outdoor for the Tuesday mass. It's not, if you don't wear a shirt and tie and your blazer and your dress shoes for men and your dress for women, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. You're outside. You might wear a hat because your head will be scorching. For me, for example, because of the bald spot, or even Deacon Pedro, who could tell you, like, we put, we most likely will wear a hat just to protect us from the sun, because we know that in the cases that we're outdoors for mass, it's permissible, in those
Yeah.
cases, that it's not like that we are covering our
Yeah,
heads out of
it should be fine.
disrespect or,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah,
or
that's
anger
not
or
an
something
issue.
like that.
That's not an issue.
Right.
And it's not like in Rome that, if you go to Rome, some of the churches won't let you in if your shoulders are uncovered or if you're wearing shorts or a short skirt. I think that, I mean, I don't know what they're going to say at the cathedral in Lisbon if
Ooh,
you
that's a
want
good
to walk
question.
in with shorts, but so I think that a pair of long pants or at least your knees below your knees is good to have. Um,
Absolutely.
don't think that you're going to wear short shorts everywhere.
And
But
that goes to your point, right? Two pair of long pants, I would say. Bring a pair of khakis and a pair of jeans.
yeah, that's
Khakis,
good.
because if you walk into churches that you feel like you're going to need to go, you can bring that with you. I mean, like, I know people that have one of those pair of pants that break, that you zip
Yeah,
up.
the zip. I have a pair. Yeah, they're
Yeah, those
super.
become
That's the best.
shorts and long pants. Those are
Yeah,
cool.
they're super, super handy. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
got lots of pockets. Yeah. I would bring a backpack, even though you're getting a pilgrim pack. It's those you. I mean, they're not huge and they're not great quality. They might be okay, kind of to use while you're in Lisbon Monday to Friday, but on the weekend you probably want a bigger backpack. So you might want to bring a backpack that's a little sturdier as well as your suitcase. So like whatever your carry-on is, I think a backpack, a good size, good backpack that you can take to the vigil with you with all your things. That's not like a huge camping pack. Uh, might be a good idea as well. Don't think that you can cram all your things that you need for the vigil in the little pilgrim pack. Um,
Yeah, I was going to
I
say,
mean, you might be able to, but I don't think that's a good plan.
I mean, there are people that will buy that material for that visual
Yeah,
on site. So I would not buy it in wherever the country of your origin. You can buy most of that materials at any department store or store when you're in Lisbon. And speaking of which, besides like a couple shirts, and some groups might even give you a shirt, being part of that group, right? Because they all want to know where you're going to be at.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody wears the same color.
Yep.
The a couple of shirts, couple pair of pants, underwear, socks, shoes. That we've already talked about the basic essentials. Let's get into like what you absolutely need to have at World Youth Day. And Deacon Pedro mentioned this, especially in regards to the vigil. The vigil site is outdoors. You're going to be laying on grass. Some of that grass might not be fresh grass. It might be like full of weeds and bugs and all sorts of things. So what would you suggest would be things that you would definitely absolutely want to have on the visual site?
And we briefly talked about this a few weeks ago or a few times ago. Um, I mean, definitely a sleeping bag, and even the World Youth Day office is already has a little video going out saying like, "Did you bring don't forget your sleeping bag." But the sleeping bag, even though it might not rain, you know how there's dew in the morning, there might be moisture, so your sleeping bag might get wet. You might want to bring a little tarp. Maybe as a group you get like a big tarp, and that can sort of more than one person can share the tarp. So the tarp is not to cover you, but to actually lay on the grass so you can put your sleeping bags on top. I really like the idea Dario mentioned a few weeks ago about just getting like a cheap pool inflatable. I don't know what you call those things, an
Yeah,
inflatable
pool seat. Yeah,
lounge seat
lounge.
thing,
Yeah, pool lounger.
pool thing that is super cheap that you can inflate when you get there. Um, and then you can leave it behind. That's probably not very sustainable,
Well, I
but
mean,
that
you
might
can
be
recycle it. It's made of
yeah,
plastic. So
recycle exactly. So it might be something you might want to invest. I don't think that's necessary. I'm quite happy being on a sleeping bag right on the ground, but if but there's no need to bring like an air mattress
no,
or
no.
anything like that. That's a little too. Even though they're also inflatable and you can roll them quite tight, I don't think that's necessary.
It's a little
Um,
excessive in weight and heavy. I mean, especially if you're bringing it from the country of your origin.
exactly.
To have one of those inflatable pool loungers, I guess you could say, not those big ones that they sell for like 300, $400. I'm talking about
Oh
like
no, get the like
something
the
you get at,
$10 one, like a
yeah, even
dollar
like a
store.
cheaper one. You can get them at a dollar store, one
A
of those
dollar
very
store.
simple
Yeah, yeah.
ones.
A pink
Um,
one. Pink
yeah,
one. Pink one with polka dots
Polka dots, right? So
and
it
a
stands out.
unicorn head.
No
Yeah.
one's going to want to take it from you. They're going to be like, you keep it. Goodness,
Yeah.
right? But the other thing too is you can always trade it, when you're there. I mean, if you want to bring an extra one, I'm sure there are people that are going to, think like, do I want comfort? Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know how comfortable it's going to be at night. I mean, under the stars, it's going to be breezy. There's going to, like Deacon Pedro mentioned, there's going to be like that dew in the morning. Most likely it's not going to rain. The weather in
Yeah, no.
Lisbon does not call for rain during the summer as much as people think. It's just a beautiful tropical temperature. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just right because we're right by the Atlantic Ocean. In the waterway that passes into that bay is from the Atlantic Ocean. So it's
Yeah.
cold water.
Yeah.
But
In
having
fact,
a cook is definitely important.
yeah, sorry, I was going to say, in
Oh,
fact,
yeah.
I mean, if going back to clothing, make sure you have a sweatshirt, um, and maybe a little kind of windbreaker or rain jacket, nothing too
Waterproof
heavy,
jacket.
a
Yes.
waterproof, something that you want to bring with you. It might be chilly that night. It might rain. I mean, we say that it's not supposed to rain. It wasn't supposed to rain in Toronto. It wasn't supposed to rain in Madrid either.
No, but it came out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And that happens with hot weather, right? It happens with hot weather. You're going to get some of these weird, storms because the wind gusts will be there. And absolutely, you're going to see that. I would definitely say like a rain jacket, definitely like a very thin rain
yeah,
jacket. Then again,
something light.
even the sleeping bags, a thin sleeping bag, maybe with a thermal blanket, something very, thin and easy to carry with you. And it shouldn't cost you that much to get a thermal blanket. If you have one of those very simple sleeping
Yeah,
bags,
that's a good idea.
they're about this size. They just fit in your, in the palm of your hands, and you can just carry that in your backpack.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. What about a pillow? Some people travel with little pillows on the airplane or a
yeah,
neck pillow, like if you're gonna have it on the plane, that's something that you could have with you.
absolutely.
You could also just take the little World Youth Day backpack and just stuff it with the shirts and stuff, and that's a nice little pillow. Like you might
And
not
that's
need a
what I would
pillow.
do. I would take the World Youth Day backpack or your backpack, whatever you're carrying with you,
Yeah, and
right?
that's
Because everything should stay in the backpack with the exception of your sleeping bag or the thermal blanket and that nice inflatable thing with the tarp on the bottom. And then everything stays in the backpack. That way, like food, other items don't get lost and then don't get,
yeah,
the opportunity for bugs to take advantage of the food is going to hit right away if you're leaving the food around. And most importantly, because yes, World Youth Day is trying to be sustainable, make sure that you put things in their proper location, like garbage. Like if you have garbage around your area, make sure they go in their proper receptacles, especially at night, because with all that, we will have bugs. And that brings me to a very important thing: bug spray. That is essential at this World Youth Day. Mosquitoes are prevalent everywhere in the world. Don't assume that mosquitoes are only available like in dark, very humid areas. No, there's going to be mosquitoes even in Lisbon, and they might bite you, and you might get bit by mosquitoes everywhere.
yeah,
Bring a
yeah,
bug
yeah.
repellent,
Bug
right?
repellent and sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Absolute goodness. Thank you for bringing that. Sunscreen is definitely a must. I remember walking in Poland, in Krakow, back in 2016, and doing the pilgrim walk, following a group of pilgrims, thinking myself, oh, this hat will protect me. Oh, it did not protect me. I got to the visual site and I was like literally crisp, like a lobster red color in the face. A couple other journalists looked at me and said, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then he's like, "You need to go to the bathroom and take a look at yourself in the mirror." I did, and I got shocked. I'm like, "This is gonna hurt." Like the next day, my face was still red, and then I remember on the flight back, I was peeling, and
Yeah,
I swear, I thought like one of the flight attendants was gonna say, "Do you got leprosy or something? What's going on over there?" You're peeling everywhere. Like no, like it's just I
yeah.
wasn't
Wear
thinking.
sunscreen. Yeah.
Wear sunscreen, and it's important to wear sunscreen. Glasses, are glasses important? What do you think?
Sunglass. Hey, it depends. My eye doctor keeps telling me that I have to wear sunglasses all the time when I'm outside.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, sunglasses, of course, it's going to be
yeah,
sunny. Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. I mean, those are basic things that I
Yeah,
think that whatever you need. I mean, obviously, you bring. You might want to bring your earbuds because that's kind of everybody travels with. You travel with a phone and you have your earbuds. They do say that all the translations are going to be through the phone. even though it's a radio station. Actually, somebody asked me, Dario, even though you should be able to tune into the radio station through your phone, she said, what if I bring an actual radio? And I
Wow.
thought,
They still
because
have
she's
them?
got one, she's got a little one, and she's like, and that way I don't have to worry about data. And I said, well, if it's broadcast through a radio station, you should be able to access it with a radio. So
Absolutely.
maybe you want to bring a little radio because you have one, and that way you don't have to worry about data to listen to all the translations or during the main events.
And while we're on that topic of headsets too, do not bring your Bluetooth headsets. Like you don't realize like the battery is going to die out. And what's going to happen is like you're at the visual site, there is no,
Yeah, you
nice little
can't charge
plugs.
it. Yeah.
You can't charge your stuff. So if you want to bring a wireless charger,
Yeah.
um, a power bank, uh,
Yes, those are the best. I have a huge one that's like 36 hours. Like it's like,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, because I got tired of having the little one that would just not last.
That die out in 4 hours, three
Yeah, four
hours. You're
hours
like,
it was
"Come
gone. So this one will last me. So you want that, and you got to make sure before the vigil that everything's charged.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely before you start your pilgrim walk, do not start videotaping the pilgrim walk and doing videos and pictures and playing music. Because then by the time you get to the visual site, your phone's already dying.
Yeah,
I've noticed like one thing about maps on the phone is that it does not only
it
just
consumes
consume
them all.
data, but it also
Yeah,
kills the battery.
yeah, it does.
And so I would definitely research the pilgrim walk in advance. And you will know what the pilgrim walk is going to be. Like they will tell you in advance, like this is the starting point, just follow the crowds, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be complex. I mean, everybody's
No.
walking in the same direction exactly. So I don't
Yeah.
think that that's too complicated. What do you think about people getting SIM cards or roaming? What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I would definitely talk to my local cell provider in the country of your origin and see what kind of program they have for you to roam internationally. Sometimes they might be as cheap as $1 or $2 a day, or maybe $5 a day
Wow.
max. Like, and again, this is just from my understanding of some things in, like, for example, in Europe, there's free roaming everywhere in Europe.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Europe
Yeah,
should be fine. If you
yeah,
have a European phone, you can roam anywhere.
you'll
But
be
like
fine. I know the United States,
For us in
though, it might be a
Canada, I
little
think
expensive.
it's $12 to $15 a day if you want to roam.
Ooh.
So that'll
Then,
kill
then
you if
at
you're
that
gone
point,
for 7 days.
at that point, it's definitely worth it then to look into getting a SIM card. Just do not get it at the airport. Like there's
Okay, yes,
a lot of people
that's
make
good
this
advice.
mistake when they travel, right? They get to the airport and they see that there's SIM cards being sold and they immediately are like, that is so convenient. It is not. They will rip you off. It is very expensive and you
Well,
might not get the service that you want.
yes. Having said that, it'll be expensive, but it'll still be cheaper than $15 a day.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's
but
definitely
yeah,
true.
it's Europe, right? So like I
Yeah.
have one that I think it's €9, and it gives me like 120 gigabytes for a month.
That's plenty for the
Free
whole
calling,
day.
free texting,
Yeah.
120 gig. So you can get those. There's also, depending on what phone you have, you can get an eSIM. That's a new thing.
Yep.
So you can look for they're called eSIMs, and there's different providers. And you don't it's not a physical SIM card. You just connect, and you can get some that are only data or some that include calling as well. But you probably don't need to worry too much about calling. Maybe a few people in the group want to have calling, but everybody else, as long as you have WhatsApp or some other
Yeah.
messaging app, that's probably all you need.
And while we're on that topic of messaging and using the app, and you mentioned WhatsApp, like there's Signal, WhatsApp, there's Messenger
Discord.
from
Yeah.
Facebook, and if you have an iPhone, you can connect through iMessenger as long as there's data.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing, like Deacon Pedro said he has the one that 120 gigs. That is plenty for this world
Oh,
use day.
more. 20 gigs is enough. Yeah.
20 gigs is enough. And all you need really is to have the data to connect you to the web so that way you can access, like, for example, those messaging features that we mentioned with WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, and so on, right? All you need is data for that.
Yes.
And you can even make phone calls through the
Yeah,
web
you can.
that
Yeah.
way. So if
Yeah.
you want to call your parents or you want to call your relatives and say, hey, I just wanted to say hi. The best way to do it is through that way instead of using
Yeah.
your phone
Exactly.
system. And again, getting a SIM just for data, 20 gigs is plenty.
Yes.
I would say like you're not playing video games. You're not
No, no.
streaming movies while you're there. And I hope you're not, because like the whole goal of being at World Youth Day is not for you to, be like you're at home. Like it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a pilgrimage.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I think that it is a good idea to make sure you have data. If you think that you can just bet on having Wi-Fi access,
mm,
you might, we're at your hotel or wherever you're staying, you might here and there, but you're
it's
going to
not
be outside, you're
dependable.
going to be walking, Wi-Fi might not be reliable.
Yeah.
Um, data is good to have. Now you could make sure that on the first day you're roaming, on the last day you're roaming, and then you try to do Wi-Fi maybe. But I think it's a good idea. It's so cheap to get a SIM card, that it's not a challenge at all.
And
Yeah,
while we're on that topic too, I just want to say that don't expect your phone to work properly at the visual site and at the final mass, or
yeah,
even at the main events, due to the fact that you're not the only one in that presence, and there's going to be multiple. They're expecting, they say, 400 to 500,000 will be attending the week events, and so imagine like 400,000 people in the same area trying to
connected
access
to, yeah,
the phone,
exactly.
right? It might not work perfectly. It will get you the emergency contacts and emergency things you need. But this is one of the reasons why, like, I highly recommend that you do not upload any photos to Facebook or Instagram or any other social medias until you get to your lodging or your
Yeah,
hotel or your wherever it is that you can find, reliable Wi-Fi. It's really hard to even do live stuff. If you wanted to do a live stream for your parish, or you were like, we're just going to do a live Facebook Live while we're on site saying hi to everybody, might not work out. So just prepare yourself for that, and don't be disappointed if it doesn't work out. I always try to avoid making a lot of live things at a location where I know for a fact it's going to be hard. But the best thing is, like, if you want to get people to see the event, you don't have to videotape the event from your perspective. Have them look at the video that's going to be streamed on Vatican Media or
yeah,
on worldute.com or WYD Central, or the Salt and Light
yeah,
network also provides that. EWTN provides that. Maria Vision provides
yeah.
that.
Everybody provides it. You can just
Everyone will have
easily,
it
yeah,
one way or another. But,
in
but it's all
English.
there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And you're going to have it in English. You're going to have it in Italian, Spanish, German,
exactly,
French,
exactly.
Portuguese, Polish, right? Because you can't forget the Polish. It's important to realize that, because, it's something someone told me, by the way, that you need to mention the Polish. So I said, fine,
Okay,
I'll
Polish.
mention the Polish. I had to. Make a shout out to all those of you guys who speak Polish, and you get this wonderful broadcast and you actually watch our videos. Thank you for watching. Anyways, yeah, cameras. What do you suggest?
Like
A
real
camera?
cameras?
Real camera, like a camera,
You
not
know
like
what? So
a
I
phone
was
camera.
talking
I
to
know
a
people like
priest.
will say the phone, right?
No, I was talking to a priest that I know that's going, and he's actually bringing a film camera. He's like, you know what? I that way I don't have to worry about battery or digital or anything like that. He's just gonna go old school, bring his film camera because he's got a little one, and it's a small one, right? Whereas the digital camera is a little bigger, clunkier. Um, but I don't know. I mean, your phone again, they take photos, it takes storage space on your phone, it eats up your battery. It depends on I think most young people are probably not going to bring a camera. They're just going to bring a phone unless they're avid photographers. But I did think something to suggest here. If you're going, especially if you're going to days in the diocese, and you are staying with a host family, or if you're staying with host families or in a parish, you might want to bring little gifts or something. To Dario mentioned trading. You're going to find other pilgrims, so little flag pins are great to trade, or little some groups are actually making little keychains. I got a little like Fatima keychain with Our Lady of Fatima. It's so cute that this Canadian group made, or they're making little crosses with the Canadian colors.
Yeah.
So you might want to bring something, you know, to give something nice to give if you're staying with a host family, and then some little trinkets to give to pilgrims from other countries that you meet there. Yeah, something like that. Those are super cute.
And I got one of these at the in Panama. This is the Blessed Pure Giorgio Frassati
Yeah,
keychain.
yeah,
It's like, hey, here's a little something, right?
yeah. Little things like that, or little pins. Um, I have like a bag of World
Oh,
Youth Day
yeah.
Toronto pins, 2002. Can you imagine? I can just be giving those away.
I
Um,
think those would be huge and valuable. I mean,
I could
people.
probably charge for those. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably could. A cell phone has all the capabilities of doing video and photo, and if
Yeah.
you're already bringing your cell phone, just consider that, and then leave space in your pocket for those trinkets that you want to give out.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to trade. You can also just give away.
Yeah. Give them away.
I
Yeah.
remember someone said to me at one time, "It's like I have like 150 rosaries. I don't know what to do with them."
They
Take
need
it
to
to
well
World
use
Youth
it.
Day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet you anything there'll be young people that will hunger to take those rosaries and use them.
Yeah.
Not just take them and put them in collectibles and in little relics, but to
Yeah.
use them. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of World Youth Day. I was going to say one more thing too about regarding uh, storage space on your phone. Before you fly out to
Clean it
Lisbon,
out. Yeah.
empty out your phone of all the photos. But you're like, what? I like to keep everything. Fine, put it on the cloud.
Yeah.
Put it on the cloud. Empty out your phone. That way, when you fly out, have it emptied. And for those of you guys that are traveling internationally with your phone, make sure that your phone is internationally unlocked so that when you put in a SIM card from a different carrier, that it will accept it in
Good
that
point.
carrier, right?
Yeah.
That's something
Good
that
point.
I was looking at my notes and I'm like, don't forget to say that. Because I know people that have gone to Europe and they're like putting their SIM card in and they realize it doesn't work. And they're like, why doesn't it work? Because your phone is not unlocked for international purposes.
Yeah.
Some carriers like to keep their phones connected to them because you didn't pay for the phone outright. And maybe because you did a plan,
Yeah. Exactly.
and that could happen that way. You're not on a prepaid plan. Again, these are small little things we need to remind you of. Someone also reminded me that be careful. There are a lot of pickpockets in Lisbon. Not as many as Rome.
Or Rio.
And Rio, yeah, Rio, goodness, right? You will have people that will be looking for this. So, what do you suggest about the wallet or purses?
Well, I like to have a wallet with me all the time, but I have a little zipper so it's not very easy to access from my back pocket. You could carry the wallet in your front pocket. That makes it a little more less accessible. There are also backpacks that are harder to zip. A lot of people now, it's back in the 80s, everybody had a fanny pack. I think they're kind of back and they're a little more fashionable nowadays, not as bulky. You can
Yeah.
get a little or the ones that I don't think they're called fanny packs anymore. I don't know what to call them, but the ones that go across the front. So a little uh and actually I've seen them where the zipper clicks. So
Yes.
it's very hard to unzip. So something like that might be good. That way you can have your phone, your wallet, and whatever personal. I wouldn't if you bring let's say you're bringing like 1,000 euros. I don't know if
Oh,
you need 1,000 euros,
no.
maybe 400 euros.
I
Maybe
would
you
say
don't even need
250 for
400,
me because
250 euros.
these cards work
Yeah,
by
I would have
tapping
cash.
everywhere.
I would have cash anyway,
Yeah.
just some cash, even though you might think you want to use your card, use the card, but have some cash just in case. Don't think that you're going to be able to exchange once to get to Lisbon, or that, as Dario said, with the SIM cards that you can do it at the airport. Um, so bring some euros, and then if you want to bring US dollars, even if you're in Canada, bring US dollars and you can exchange them once you're there.
Yeah.
I like to bring all my euros, but don't have them with you in your wallet all the time. Leave some in the hotel or where you're staying secured, and then only have whatever you need for that day, so that in case your wallet gets lost, you're not losing all your cash.
Yeah. Or your passport. Please bring a photocopy of your
Bring a
passport on
photocopy.
you.
Yeah, good
Do
idea. Bring a
not carry the
photocopy
real
of the
thing.
pass. Yeah, exactly.
And do
Photocopy
not
of
give
the
it to your chaperone. This is the biggest problem I hear. I was on an airplane flying to Rome, and there was a group that was on the plane, and the chaperone's like, everybody give me your passports. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but a
Really?
photocopy of the pass. I think the
Yeah,
chaperone could have a photocopy.
they
You
can.
have a copy. I would have a copy, a hard copy of even like my plane ticket and all these things, just in case when you get to the airport. When you get to we're running out of time, but when you get to the airport to come back, it's not like, like they have like fancy machines for every customer to check in. You're gonna have to line up, and it's gonna be cramped, and there's gonna be 300,000 pilgrims doing the same thing. So in that case, the group leader will need like, give me all
Yeah.
your passports and kind of check in everybody together.
Yeah, but
So that maybe
we're going
that's
to talk
another
about that in the next
conversation for
show.
another time. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
because
exactly.
we're definitely out of time. I'm sorry. And for those of you guys that are thinking like, my gosh, we could do another show on this. Yes, we can. And we're going to
Yeah, we
continue
can
to do.
actually. The just travel is good.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of like, how do you move in groups at World Youth Day?
Yeah,
That's going to be the next show as
yeah,
well.
it's a good
But
one.
anyways, it's such a pleasure talking about all these great things because we're now 2 weeks away, 2 weeks from today, 14 days away from the start of
2
World Youth
weeks to
Day.
go.
What an exciting time this is going to be. From all of us at worldyouth.com and WYD Central, thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll be in touch soon. God bless
Yes.
you
See
guys.
you in Lisbon.